alien interference on the earth. Let's have a look at Genesis chapter 6 and focus on one of the bizarre things that was happening on the earth before the flood. In Genesis 6 verse 4, there were giants or Nephilim on the earth in those days and also afterwards, when the sons of God lived with the daughters of men and they gave birth to their children. These were the mighty men who were of old men of renown, in other words, giants. Now, I explained in a previous video that the sons of God were in fact fallen angels who cohabited with the beautiful earth women and whose children were the enormous giants common in pre-flood times and even afterwards. The existence of giants was the direct result of these angels who did not, as Jude says, keep within their own appointed realms. Jude 6. They came out of where they're supposed to be. And they interfered with the human race, producing hybrids, which really infuriated the Lord, and he had to wipe out the population of the earth because of it. Now, giants are not fantasy. They really did exist before the flood and afterwards, because spirits are not stopped by the flood. And the spies, as they went into the promised land in Numbers 13:33, reported wonderful grapes in there, great land flowing with milk and honey, but there are giants. Now, fast forward to our times, we're living in the last of the last days, and Christ is coming for his bride, the church. The devil knows this. He knows the rapture is imminent. He knows that millions of Christians are going to disappear from the earth. So he's been working through government officials and the media to have some kind of explanation ready. Satan is all prepared. He has his most biggest and wicked lie ready. He's been busy feeding men's fascination with the existence of alien life somewhere out there in space. After man reached the moon, many billions of dollars have been wasted sending space probes to Mars and other planets in search of water and the possible existence of life. This is part of the delusion of our times, which is prior to the Antichrist. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 11. Remember, delusion is believing a lie. It's believing stuff that isn't really true. Even NASA scientists and the Vatican's observatories in Italy and Arizona, are foremost in their assertions of having witnessed spacecraft, presenting their compelling evidence. This is a delusion. The Apostle Paul warned Timothy, the Holy Spirit explicitly and unmistakably declares that in the last times, people will move away from the faith, paying attention to seductive spirits and doctrines of demons. That's in 1 Timothy 4 verses 1 to 3. Now, let's look at this big lie that the devil is going to use to explain away the rapture. He's been planning this lie for centuries. The first part of the lie was to get people to accept the idea of evolution. Now, remember Darwin? He sold this idea to the world's academic community, saying that man was not created by a loving God, but he evolved out of the slime of the world's oceans. Acceptance of evolution was very, very important to put the basis, the foundation of the lie that I'm going to explain. Firstly, evolution means that people don't have to acknowledge a holy God. I'm just evolved, so I don't need to be accountable to a God because there isn't a God. Secondly, it opens up the possibility of the existence of other non-human beings who have evolved their intelligence to a higher level than ours. And such superior intelligence will be very important to mankind for our survival. But where are such aliens? Hollywood released movies which were ready for the UFOs, unidentified flying objects. The films E.T., extraterrestrial, was released. Also Star Trek, with the idea of being beamed up, taken from one spaceship to another. The little green men and Dr. Spock were very friendly, and they have seen what a mess the peoples of the earth are in. They want to help rescue us by mind realignment, education in other words. It's now a common news item. More and more sightings of spacecraft have been seen. I'm not joking, this is discussed in Parliament even. And these spacecrafts have been seen by highly qualified test pilots who try to track such vehicles, but they're too fast and they change direction so supernaturally. They can't just go in one direction and boom, right angles. You can't do that. Supernaturally you can. Some people have also been abducted or beamed up by aliens, taken and thought lost, but they come back and they explain that they've been sexually experimented on. And these sightings and abductions are tangible manifestations of demons. They have not come from other galaxies. They're demonic manifestations. So when the rapture does occur, the New Age narrative, where have all these people gone? They're saying, well, the Christians have been beamed up because they were a nuisance. They didn't fit in with our thinking in society. So they've been beamed up to the alien spacecraft. And those left behind will be told, don't worry, they're safe. They're being re-educated. In other words, brainwashed to think in the way of the new world and so on. Now, safeguard your own future, and as many as your family and friends who will listen. People are convinced that UFOs exist and that they're from outer space. It's in the papers, it's on the news, it's on television. Warn people that UFOs are not long-distance vehicles, but demonic manifestations from an already here and now spiritual world. Demons are going to manifest much more as the approach of the rapture occurs, and once that the church is taken out, it's going to be a spate of UFOs. We won't be here to see it, thank God. We'll be at the marriage supper.